MSW Media.
News with swearing. Daily beans, daily beans. Daily beans, daily beans.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Beans for Thursday, November 27th, 2025. Today, Donald Trump wants to put 500 more National Guard troops on the streets of D.C. after two guardsmen who shouldn't have been there in the first place were shot. We're going to talk about how an innocent woman was tied to the January 6th pipe bombs. Special Envoy to Ukraine Steve Witkoff coached the Kremlin on how to pitch the Ukraine surrender plan to Donald Trump. The Department of Justice has thrown Kristi Noem under the bus for disobeying that court order to turn the planes around that were bound for El Salvador last March. An immigrant related to Karoline Leavitt has been detained by ICE. The Fulton County RICO case against Trump and his allies for attempting to overturn the 2020 election has been dismissed. Eric Swalwell has drawn Judge Boasberg for his lawsuit against Bill Pulte, and the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals has denied Trump's attempt to fight his $1 million sanctions bill for filing his frivolous lawsuit against 41 people, including Hillary Clinton. I'm your host, Allison Gill. Hey, everybody. I just want to say happy holidays to all of you, however you celebrate. Dana is out today. I'll be in your ears tomorrow. We have a whole show for you tomorrow with John Fugelsang and progressive candidate, the one that's running to fill Nancy Pelosi's vacant House seat in California. His name is Shoykat Chakrabarti, and we'll speak to him on Friday as well. There is lots of news to cover today. On holiday eve, this is when the government tries to get news stories out that they want to sort of keep quiet. So a lot of stuff happening today. Let's hit the hot notes. Hot notes. All right, first up, as predicted, Pete Scandalakis, the Republican who sits atop a panel of prosecutors in Georgia, after taking the Fani Willis RICO case for himself, moved to dismiss the case in its entirety. He did the same thing with Burt Jones earlier in the case when Fani Willis was recused from prosecuting him because she hosted a fundraiser for one of his opponents. And Judge McAfee has granted the Scandalakis motion to dismiss the entire case. So the case is officially dead. We're going to go over the bullshit reasons that Scandalakis gave on next week's episode of Cleanup on L45. And we're also going to talk a little bit about, I'd like to know more information about which district attorneys Scandalakis asked to take this case on, which ones said no, and why they said no. That is something I hope somebody should put out a Freedom of Information Act request, although they're not federal records, they're state records. So whatever the equivalent, the Georgia equivalent is, whether they have a transparency, open records law or whatever, I would like to know those types of communications, because I don't think he actually honestly and earnestly asked any of the other elected district attorneys to take this case on. All right, next up, as we reported yesterday, Eric Swalwell is suing Bill Pulte for unlawfully obtaining his personal mortgage records. And today, the case was randomly assigned to none other than Judge Boasberg. Now, he's the judge that just revived the criminal contempt hearing against the government for failing to comply with his oral order last March to turn the planes around. But those planes went on to El Salvador, and the mostly innocent men were put in Seacoast prison. So let's talk about that. CNN is reporting that the Justice Department said in a new court filing on Tuesday that it's actually Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem who made the decision to continue with deportation flights carrying migrants to the mega prison in El Salvador, despite a federal judge's order to turn the planes around. Department of Justice acknowledged in the filing that it was Noem who made the call in March to keep the planes headed to Seacoast prison after U.S. District Judge James Boasberg last week resumed his criminal contempt inquiry to find out which Trump administration officials were responsible for flouting his orders. The high-stakes immigration case involves Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act to speed up deportations of alleged members of a Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua. It has marked a major political and legal flashpoint for the Trump White House in its efforts to carry out a historic deportation campaign. And Noem's decision ultimately led to the migrants spending months in the notorious prison in El Salvador, where human rights groups have claimed they were subject to torture and rape and other abuses. Quote, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and PAYDAG, Principal Associate Deputy Attorney General Emil Bovee, provided DHS with legal advice regarding the court's order as to flights that had left the United States before the order issued. That's what the government wrote in the filing. Yeah, you know what advice PAYDAG Emil Bovee provided? Tell the courts to fuck off. That's the advice he provided. The filing goes on to say, after receiving that legal advice, Secretary Noem directed the AEA detainees who had been removed from the United States before the court's order could be transferred to the custody of El Salvador. The Justice Department argued in the filing that decision was lawful and consistent with a reasonable interpretation of the court's order. Although the substance of the legal advice given to DHS and Secretary Noem is privileged, they say, the government has repeatedly explained why its actions did not violate the court's order, much less constitute contempt. Specifically, the court's written order did not purport to require the return of the detainees who had already been removed, and the earlier oral directive was not a binding injunction, especially after the written order. In the blockbuster decision issued in April, Boasberg, the chief judge of the federal trial level court in Washington, D.C., said probable cause exists to find the government in criminal contempt. But before he could move forward with finding out who was responsible for defying the orders, the proceedings were put on hold by the D.C. U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. That court, earlier this month, then paved the way for Boasberg to restart his inquiry. Boasberg had suggested that part of his inquiry could involve declarations from administration officials or hauling officials into his courtroom to provide testimony under oath. Those hearings, he said, could begin as soon as December 1st. Among those he's interested in hearing from is ex-Justice Department lawyer who alleged in a whistleblower complaint earlier this year that the then top DOJ official told his colleagues in March the administration intended to ignore court orders as part of the government's aggressive deportation effort. That ex-Justice Department lawyer is named Erez Reveni, and he was told by Emil Bovee, that's the top DOJ official, to tell the courts to fuck off. That's that the administration intending to ignore court orders. He actually used the words fuck off. I know this is a news with swearing program. I'm not just inserting that. That is what this whistleblower, Erez Reveni, said Emil Bovee told the lawyers in the room. And in a related story from the Associated Press, a Massachusetts woman who was once engaged to the brother of White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt remains in ICE custody 2 weeks after being arrested on her way to pick up the son she shares with her former fiancé. Bruna Ferreira, 33, was driving to her son's school in New Hampshire on November 12th when she was pulled over in Revere, Massachusetts. That's what her attorney, Todd Pomerlew, I hope I'm saying that right, said on Wednesday. Quote, she wasn't told why she was being detained. She was bounced from Massachusetts to New Hampshire to Vermont to Louisiana on this unconstitutional merry-go-round. Pomerlew said Ferreira's 11-year-old son lives with her former fiancé, Michael Leavitt, in New Hampshire. But they have shared custody and maintain a co-parenting relationship, and they have for many years since their engagement broke off. He said the boy lived with both parents at one point and later split his time between the two of them, spending numerous nights and weekends with the mother. Quote, she was detained for no reason at all. She's not dangerous. She's not a flight risk. She's not a criminal illegal alien, he said. She's a business owner who pays taxes and has a child who was wondering where mommy was after school 2 weeks ago. Michael Leavitt didn't respond to a message sent to his workplace. The White House press secretary declined to comment. Karoline Leavitt grew up in New Hampshire and made an unsuccessful bid for Congress in the state in 2022 before becoming Trump's spokesperson for his 2024 campaign and later joining him as the press secretary. Pomerlew said his client was 2 or 3 years old when she and her family came to the U.S. from Brazil, and she later enrolled at the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, DACA, the Obama-era policy that shields immigrants who were brought to the U.S. as children. He said she was in the process of applying for a green card. The Department of Homeland Security said Ferreira entered the U.S. on a tourist visa that required her to leave in 1999. A department spokesperson said Ferreira had a previous arrest for battery, which is an allegation her attorney denies. And an online search of court cases in several Massachusetts locations where she's lived found no record of any charge, especially not battery. In New Hampshire, court records show she had 2 motor vehicle violations in 2020, speeding and driving an unregistered vehicle. The charges were placed on file without finding on the condition that she enroll in a safe driving course and remain on good behavior. Quote, they're claiming she has some type of criminal record. We've seen it nowhere. Show us the proof. That's what Pomerlew said. She would have been deported years ago if that were true. And yet here she is in the middle of this immigration imbroglio. a DHS spokesperson confirmed Ferreira is being held in Louisiana. And for Karoline Leavitt to continue to wear that fucking cross around her neck while a family member is being detained, I can't. Next up from the Associated Press, 2 West Virginia National Guard members who were deployed to D.C. were shot on Wednesday, just blocks from the White House, in a brazen act of violence. FBI Director Kash Patel and Washington Mayor Muriel Bowser said the Guard members were hospitalized and they were in critical condition. Bowser said they were victims of a targeted shooting. West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey initially said that they had died, but later walked back that statement to say his office was receiving conflicting reports about their condition. The governor's office did not immediately respond to requests about the attack and the condition of the troops. A suspect who was in custody also was shot and had wounds that were not believed to be life-threatening. That's according to law enforcement. Someone who was not authorized to discuss the matter publicly who spoke to the AP on the condition of anonymity. The Trump administration then quickly ordered 500 more National Guard troops to put them in harm's way following the shooting. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said Trump asked him to send the extra soldiers. Law enforcement was reviewing surveillance video from the scene and believed the suspect approached the soldiers and pulled out a gun. That's when another law enforcement official, who also was not authorized to discuss this publicly, told the Associated Press. At least one of the soldiers exchanged gunfire with the shooter. Investigators were trying to determine the gunman's motive, including whether the suspect was targeting troops for any specific reason. The shooting happened roughly 2 blocks northwest of the White House, 17th and H Street. Quote, "God bless our great National Guard and all our military and law enforcement. These are truly great people." That's what Trump said. I guess he's not including the Capitol police officers that he sent his mob after on January 6th. "I, as President of the United States and everyone associated with the office of the presidency, am with you." Are you? They were shot because of you. They shouldn't have been there. Next up from CBS, a federal security officer linked to a thwarted January 6th pipe bomb attack cleared her name by providing an alibi. Video of her playing with her puppies at the time the devices were placed. That's what sources told CBS. The FBI has now ruled her out as a suspect in the 2021 plot, according to 3 sources, but only after her name circulated on social media platforms and conservative news sites. How an innocent woman's name came to be publicly linked to the unexploded pipe bombs is a question that has raised concerns among senior officials in the Trump administration. CBS News is not naming the security officer or her workplace. The federal agency she protects declined to comment. Multiple sources said that a unit overseen by the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, drafted a memo identifying this woman and describing allegations that she placed the pipe bombs outside the DNC and the RNC. ODNI officials said the agency received a tip from a person affiliated with a media organization about a potential criminal wrongdoing by an individual believed to be working at an intelligence agency and set about documenting it in the memo. A copy of the unfinished memo was given to a senior staff member at the security officer's workplace. It also circulated among a few Trump administration officials, building expectations that the nearly 5-year-old case might be solved. The memo caught some officials at the FBI, DOJ, and White House off guard. ODNI oversees the nation's foreign intelligence gathering and has limited domestic investigative authorities. The FBI is leading the pipe bomb investigation. A short time after the unfinished memo began to circulate, the conservative news outlet Blaze News published details similar to those in that memo from the ODNI, including the woman's full name. From a tip, our fucking ODNI, from a tip from a media outlet, drafted a memo, and then somebody leaked it to Blaze News, a conservative media outlet. The November 8 Blaze News article claimed that it had pinpointed the woman after a review of video evidence and gait analysis software that matched her to the walking pattern of the gait of the person shown in the surveillance footage. Blaze News said its work had been confirmed by several intelligence sources. I'd like to know who. Several sources told CBS that the classified draft memo, which was on ODNI letterhead, was written by Paul McNamara, who's in charge of Gabbard's Directors Initiatives Group, which is tasked with providing transparency and accountability in executing Trump's intelligence-related executive orders. Of course, McNamara couldn't be reached for comment. A spokesperson, Olivia Coleman, said ODNI followed its obligation to report information received concerning the alleged activities of a member of the intelligence community to that person's employing agency. After a whistleblower came forward with an allegation, ODNI documented the accusation and lawfully reported it, fulfilling our legal duty to alert appropriate agencies when alleged potential security concerns are brought to our attention. There were no predetermined conclusions or assessments made, and every action taken was done so in consultation with legal counsel. Yeah, what legal counsel? Lindsay Halligan? The Blaze report became the subject of extensive media coverage and discussion on social media, especially among Trump supporters. Word of the supposed break in the case reached Donald Trump, according to two sources, but it's unclear how he learned. Now, sources in this situation and others were viewed internally by some senior administration officials as interfering in areas that were beyond the purview of the National Intelligence Director's office, do you think? Axios reported in September that Justice Department officials believed ODNI had hindered their case against John Brennan, former CIA director. The New York Times in October reported that ODNI had accessed FBI investigative files related to Charlie Kirk's assassination and searched for evidence of conspiracies and potentially undermined the government's case against Charlie Kirk's assassin. So the ODNI is going through these files. Federal security officer, that one cooperated with the FBI, according to sources. Her lawyer says publicly that she has done nothing wrong. Both the woman and her lawyer declined to comment for this story. She has returned to work after being placed on a brief leave. And from the Associated Press, Donald Trump's chief interlocutor with the Russian government last month advised a senior aide to Vladimir Putin on how the Russian leader should go about pitching the U.S. president on I call it a surrender plan, aimed at bringing an end to Russia's war in Ukraine, according to a transcript of the call published by Bloomberg News on Tuesday. This is Trump envoy Steve Witkoff. And this, according to this transcript of the October 14th call published by the news service, he advised Putin's foreign policy advisor, Yuri Ushakov, that Putin should call Trump to congratulate him for Gaza and say Russia had supported it and that he respects the president as a man of peace. Quote, from that, it's going to be a really good call. That's what Witkoff said, according to the transcript. When asked by Russian state media to comment on Bloomberg's report, Ushakov didn't question the recording's authenticity, but said they had not been leaked by Moscow. So he's like, yeah, that's real, but we didn't leak it. He also said that the calls had likely been leaked to hinder U.S.-Russia ties. It's unlikely this thing is being done to improve relations. Yeah, I'm actually with you on that, Ushakov. And I'm glad whoever leaked it. Ushakov also said he spoke with Witkoff by phone quite often, but refused to discuss the content of the recording. The essence of these conversations is that they are confidential. I will not comment. No one should comment. That's what the Russian said. The Bloomberg report came as Trump on Tuesday said a proposal to end Russia's war in Ukraine has been fine-tuned and announced he's sending Witkoff to meet with Putin. The White House didn't dispute the veracity of the transcript either, and Trump described Witkoff's reported approach to the Russians in the call as standard. It's standard to advise the Kremlin on how to grease my wheels. Quote, he's got to sell this to Ukraine. He's got to sell Ukraine to Russia. That's what Trump told reporters on Air Force One as he flew to his home in Florida on Tuesday night. That's what a deal maker does. But U.S. Rep. Don Bacon from Nebraska, Republican, who has been critical of everything Trump pretty much, especially his approach to Ukraine, said the transcript showed Witkoff favors the Russians. Quote, he cannot be trusted to lead these negotiations. Would a Russian paid agent do less than he? He should be fired. That's what Bacon said on social media. I concur. Bloomberg said it reviewed a recording of the call, but did not say how it obtained access to the recording. I'm interested in how. Who leaked it? Secretary of State Marco Rubio has insisted the proposal was authored by the United States with input from both the Russians and the Ukrainians in response to bipartisan pushback in Washington that the leaked plan amounted to a Russian wish list. The State Department declined to comment on the Bloomberg report. And Marco Rubio lied to Congress when he said, this is just a Russian wish list. No, that's the actual surrender plan that Trump wants to go with. What a fucking clown show. It is insane. I can't, everyone is so evil and incompetent. It's the Ukraine clown posse 2.0. And what do you get from a clown show? Sometimes you get sanctions. Politico reports a federal appeals court has upheld the penalty of nearly $1 million against Trump and Alina Habba, concluding they committed sanctionable conduct by filing a frivolous lawsuit against Hillary Clinton, former FBI Director Jim Comey, and like 40 other people. Quote, many of Trump and Habba's legal arguments were indeed frivolous. That's what the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals Chief Judge William Pryor Jr. wrote for a unanimous 3-judge panel, including Trump appointee Andrew Brasher and Biden appointee Embry Kidd. The Atlanta-based appeals court also rejected Trump's bid to reinstate the 2022 lawsuit against Clinton and Comey and others over allegations about ties between Trump's 2016 presidential campaign and Russia. The lawsuit alleged a broad racketeering conspiracy to conjure up false allegations against his campaign and then instigate investigations like special counsel Bob Mueller's probe. And Judge Pryor, a G.W. Bush appointee, concluded that the district court judge who originally ruled against Trump, that's Middlebrooks, had properly considered Trump's pattern of misusing the courts when deciding to sanction Trump and Habba. So you could say Comey beat Trump twice this week. Now, I'm going to be talking about this in more detail with Andy McCabe, who was also one of the defendants in that lawsuit. And we're going to talk about that on this weekend's episode of Unjustified. All right, everybody, it's time for some good news. We could use it this week. We'll be right back after this break.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Everybody, welcome back. It's time for the good news.
Who likes good news? Everyone? Then good news, everyone.
Good news, good news. And if you have any good news, good trouble suggestions, maybe a funny joke you've heard, your good news could be little, it could be big, it could have happened yesterday, it could have happened 40 years ago, just some story that makes you smile. We all want to smile with you. We need to microdose this happiness with you. Send it all to us. You can also give a shout out to a loved one, a spouse, small business in your area, a nonprofit, a food bank, yourself. We love self shout outs. Shout out your dissertation and thesis titles. We love those. Even though we can't pronounce most of what's in them. We also would love to hear shout outs to government programs that have helped you or a loved one. Anything at all that you can think will bring a smile to our faces. And all you got to do to get it read on the air is pay your pod pet tariff, which at this point, as you know, means attach a photo of anything. But it started out as attaching a photo of your pet, particularly your shelter pup, and we would try to guess what breeds were in there. If you don't have a pet, you can send an adoptable pet in your area. If you don't have that, just grab a random photo of an animal on the internet. Dana will be back in your ears on Monday. She loves baby photos. Send in your baby photos. It can even be a random baby you don't know that you just found on the internet. Also photos of bird watching, which can be an actual bird or you and your family and friends flipping the bird to Trump buildings. We especially love those. And the White House counts right now, by the way, as flipping the bird to a Trump building. I know it's our house, but he's in there. Oh, we got to get him out of there. Any photo, rally signs that you like, what you dressed up for is Halloween, holiday pictures, awkward family photos, your garden, show us your garden, what you're making and creating. Send it all to us. dailybeanspod.com. Click on contact. First up is your good trouble. And this is a reminder. This is the last weekend before the last election of the year. There are very few days left to phone bank for Afton Bain. So we have a link in the show notes. Check the dates to see what works for you. If you can't make a specific time, we also have a link to an asynchronous phone banking where you can just do it when it is easiest for you. And we have a bonus holiday good trouble. Hello, AG and Dana. I'm a citizen of the U.S. living in the U.K. I'm a teacher, and I just couldn't tolerate the school shootings anymore. And hey, nationalized healthcare is pretty cool too. Sorry, now I'm just bragging. Yeah, you bragger. On my socials, I came across a free promotion from the whiskey seller Crown Royal, who will make a care package for military members free of charge. On it, you can leave a short message to a random serviceman or woman or person. Wouldn't it be lovely if your crew all signed up to donate a package of treats, jerky, nuts, granola bar, sweets, etc., and included the message, "Thank you for your service, and remember, you do not have to follow illegal orders." I love this. pack.crownroyal.com. They'll send it. You just sign the message. Thank you for your service. And remember, you do not have to follow illegal orders. This is so great. What a great good trouble. Thank you so much for sending that in. Next up from Susie, pronouns she and her. Firstly, I had a dolphin encounter on my paddleboard off a wee island in Scotland, Bute. Then 20 minutes later, I broke my tooth for fuck's sake. But the real thing I'm writing about is Scotland qualifying for the World Cup, as rare as hen's teeth. The videos of the reactions are amazing. The men are so emotional, but in a good way, hugging, singing, jumping. In other countries, they throw their drinks in the air, but not in Scotland. We like to drink, and we hate waste. Anywho, love you ladies. The video is great. Hugs from your Scottish pal. We are all watching behind pillows to see what fuckface Von Clownstick will do next. The UK is struggling with similar rhetoric around immigrants, fueled by Murdoch and other rich cunts. So it is a warning to see how far it can go in a similarly situated country. Right, enough babbling. My pod pet tariff is Willow, the 17-year-old rescue. Aw. One on my paddleboard, my extremely happy place. And I'll try to find a photo of me flipping the bird to J.K. Rowling's house. Yes. Update. I was only able to catch 2 pictures. I'll try to get a good picture to send it in. I also had a picture of me flipping off a Starlink box in Costco. LMAO. Bye. Susie, you're amazing. I love your gato here. Paddleboarding. Fantastico. Yeah, let us know if you get those bird watching photos for J.K. Rowling's house. Would love to see them. Next up, Courtney, pronouns she and her. Yay for the adorable pikas. We are lucky enough to have a population here in Oregon, up along the gorge. You can volunteer to count them with the Cascades Pika Watch. Here's an article with a video about them that features their cute chirping sounds. Shout out to the incredible NPR and PBS station here, Oregon Public Broadcasting. And we will have that link in the show notes. Courtney says, I also want to take a moment to shout out the Multnomah County Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Program. They have helped me provide my high-needs autistic kiddo with caregivers before and after school so that I can continue to work as a nurse to support us. Oh, bless you, Courtney. Without this government help, it would have been impossible for me to find appropriate, affordable care for my daughter. Government support changes lives, and I can continue to work as a nurse and hopefully positively impact my community because of it. Gee, though, sure wish I was still considered a professional. Maybe I could email someone about that. Oh, Courtney, I'm so sorry. I've attached a picture of my daughter and me on the zoo train at the Oregon Zoo Lights celebration. I think her extremely unamused expression is a sneak peek into her teenagerhood, and I am shook. Ha ha. Picture for AG and DG eyes only. All right, so we will not share this, but it is fantastic. Thank you so very much, Courtney, and thank you for being a nurse. You are a professional, I promise, regardless of what the orange shit Gibbon says. And again, we'll have that Pika watch, where you can count pikas in Oregon. We'll have that link in the show notes. Next up from Michael, pronouns he and him. I've been quietly, except for the occasional fuck you outburst toward Trump policies, listening to the beans and greatly appreciate your approach. I don't really have anything to share, but wanted to openly share my positive thoughts for your kitty. I've had the pleasure of sharing my home with cats my entire life, and each loss is hard. My furry friends always live in my heart. My hope today is that your fur baby has a quick recovery. Attached are pics of 2 of our fuzzballs, past and present. Sammy, long-haired gray, left us several years ago after a long decline. Maple, the tortie, is likely the most personable cat in the world. She will curl up with anyone. Thank you for all you do, and happy Turkey Day. Oh, beautiful kitties. Thank you. Look at this sweet girl. Oh, thanks for that, Michael. He's feeling a little better today. His fever has come down. But thank you. Thank you for that. I will keep you all posted. Next up from TB, pronouns she and her. I just wanted to send a quick thank you to you both. In this time of chaos and uncertainty due to the current regime, the news can be a bit overwhelming and downright depressing. Listening to your podcast makes it much easier to absorb. Your cheerfulness and positivity is appreciated. Thank you for what you do. And look at this sweet puppy in a gift bag. It's adorable. I've included my pet tax. We believe him to be a blank. Okay, I can only see his head. I can't even see his ears, but he looks kind of like a beagle with a chihuahua in there. Let's see. We believe him to be a dachshund cocker spaniel. All right. Maybe if I saw his little long body, I would have had a better chance. Thank you so much for that, TB. Appreciate you. Next up, Laura from Wisconsin. Hi, Beanie Queenies. Love you both in your saucy minx ways. Thank you. I want to give a shout out to my sister-in-law, Lisa, whose novel, Lisa Layman's novel, Radio Star, with 2 R's, was just published by Freshwater Press. It tells a story of DJs Eva and Coco trying to navigate the very male world of the 1980s commercial radio. And NPR's Leanne Hansen gave it a rave review. So proud. Here's my pet tax. This is Dottie, a rescue pup out of Texas, with her favorite toy, a really weird-looking cow. Thanks for all yous do, as we say in Wisconsin. Look at this sweet baby with her cow. Thank you for that. Looks like a pity mix, but there's no answers, so I'm just going to say that that's correct. Next up, Jeff, he, them. AGDG, you rock. I salute you. I stumbled across you on Blue Sky through other social justice follows and then started listening to the podcast, and it's such a breath of fresh air. I don't feel alone in my thoughts and observations. These times are very uncertain for a lot of people, and with the recent news by certain degrees not being considered professional, it's a real scary time for me as I've just started my master's program for social work with a goal of getting a certificate and veterinary social work. The blatant targeting of essential fields of work that are comprised of women and minorities is appalling. Certain degrees not being considered professional. Jeff, I'm with you. Thank you for being champions of what's right and for your advocacy for animal rescue, which holds a special place in my heart. I'm on the board of directors and part of a small foster-based rescue. IG/Facebook is at Safe Refuge of Central Texas. It's here in Austin, and it's a never-ending battle. I've been wanting to send my pod pet tax photo for a while because it fits so well with the podcast, but finally had something to attach it to. Meet the Beans. Second photo is their band photo. There's Pinto, Garbanzo, rest in peace, and Java, rest in peace. Garbanzo, the fawn, came with his name when I rescued him in 2010 after surviving parvo, and it was too good to change. Shout out to Austin Pets Alive Parvo Ward. He passed 2 years ago, 8 days after having a growth removed from his stomach, the day I found out it wasn't cancerous. His little body just couldn't recover. Java, who was black, he's the first dog adopted from the rescue I am now part of. He was my sole dog, but left me suddenly last December, 30 hours after he started showing respiratory symptoms, a complete shock and mystery to the emergency vets who saw him when the symptoms started. Pinto, named because of his spots, was a foster fail and a buddy to both, protecting them from all the energetic puppies we foster. He's still going strong, and he still tries to bite me every day when I leave because he's mad I'm leaving. Thank you for all you do. This is the Beans crew, Pinto, Garbanzo, and Java. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, there's that car, that painted car in the ground. I know where that is. Thank you so much for that. Next up, Kathy M. Allison asked for pictures, so I'm complying. This is our 6.5-pound rescue named Willow. She was found wandering, filthy, dirty, and all of her teeth were rotten. A wonderful woman took care of all of her vet care and surrendered her for adoption. Best $49 I ever spent. Willow is approximately 14 years old and has developed congestive heart failure. She's lost 1.5 pounds and is on cardiac meds. She has good days and bad days, and we're doing our best to keep her comfortable. I've never had such a tiny dog, and she's gone and stolen my heart. We're so grateful to be her caregivers. Happy Thanksgiving. Everybody send good thoughts and vibes to Willow. Oh my gosh, she is tiny and she is adorable. Oh, I love her. Oh, let's see. There's a redaction box. Is Willow a Maltipoo? I'm guessing Maltipoo. Let's see. Maltese, just a straight up Maltese. I apologize for putting the poo in there. You beautiful little Maltese baby. Next up, make and thank friends. Hello, Holiday Beans. Since it's Thanksgiving time, I'd like to give a boost of gratitude to my friends Bobby and Karen. I met Bobby in a programming class and loaned her my, at the time, very expensive laptop. Without knowing her, she later introduced me to her partner Karen, and history was made. They are the kindest people and true friends. Send them love and gratitude. All right, Bobby and Karen, we are sending love and gratitude from Make and Thank Friends. By the way, my laptop was returned. Shout out to all the good people. Pod pet tax paid and not explained. Okay, it's just a photo of a lovely, lovely little, maybe a miniature, what's the golden doodle? Maybe, or just a poodle. Beautiful baby. Thank you so much. And shout out to Bobby and Karen. Good job giving the laptop back. You're awesome. And thank you all so much for this on this holiday. I love this good news segment. Please send us all your good news. And don't forget to flood the zone with baby photos, baby animals, baby people for Dana when she returns. And thank you all so much, everyone. We'll see you. I'll be back in your ears tomorrow. Until then, please take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet, take care of your mental health, and take care of your family. I've been AG, and them's the beans.
The Daily Beans is written and executive produced by Allison Gill, with additional research and reporting by Dana Goldberg. Sound design and editing is by Desiree McFarlane, with art and web design by Joelle Reeder with Moxie Design Studios. Music for The Daily Beans is written and performed by They Might Be Giants, and the show is a proud member of the MSW Media Network, a collection of creator-owned podcasts dedicated to news, politics, and justice. For more information, please visit mswmedia.com.
MSW Media.